Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Messiah deck profile for post the Messiah Stride deck set. With the latest Stride deck set, this is the deck that you can use for D format and utilize Stride all in the same gameplay. This is the first encounter deck we also have for Link Joker in Overdress or D format, being able to use the Link Joker crest to be able to play the different strides with our main go-to grade 3 Amnesty Messiah, along with some of the changes I made to the actual Stride deck set, which you can play as a complete deck. These are just some of the adjustments I made for all the other cards you can add into the deck as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the strides. You only have the 8 strides to work with, very similar to the Chronojet deck. For our strides, we have 4 copies of Genesis Dragon, Exilix Messiah. This is the next stage counterpart because you have to discard a grade 3 with Messiah in its card name from your hand to stride this card from your stride zone onto your Vanguard face down. And Generation Break 2, when this unit attacks, you can counterblast 1 and choose any number of any player's locked cards and unlock them. If you unlocked a card, with this card, choose the same number of your rear guards as the number of cards unlocked by this ability and stand them. And until the end of this turn, all your front row units get plus 10,000 and this unit gets critical plus 1. So your strides already give plus 15,000 to your Vanguard, which will be at an initial 13k power. Even more power depending on how many you have face up in your stride zone due to the crest. But the additional restand power that you can provide to your own units and then unlocking your opponents as well is what you want to make full use of with this stride, since anyway they're going to unlock at the end of the turn thanks to the crest to begin with, so you won't be able to leave your opponent with any locked cards, giving you pressure with the Vanguard and then all of the additional rear guards you can attack with also. We're also running the 4 copies of Genesis Dragon Amnesty Messiah. This is normally the stride you want to go into first, where you choose 1 or more cards from your hand with the sum of their grades being grade 3 or greater and discard them. And on Vanguard, when this unit attacks, counterblast 1, choose a face down card from your G zone and turn it face up. Choose any number of any player's locked cards, unlock them, and choose 1 of your rear guards and it gets plus 5,000 until end for each card unlocked by this ability. So it's very similar to the initial stride we had in the Chronojet deck as well, being able to power up a rear guard, basing it on all the units unlocked by this ability instead of the cards face up in the G zone. With this play, being able to hit some pretty good numbers the more cards you lock with your other rear guards you have in the deck also. And then as for the actual crest, the crest just sets up with your grade 1, the Alter Ego Messiah crest, giving you the power of stride, putting your grade 3 Vanguard at 13k power, and also being able to gain additional plus 5 for each face-up card in your G-zone, and unlocking all of your opponent's locked cards and binding those units. So with this card, it does take out the cards that unlocked by binding them, so it does, get rid of a good majority of cards that your opponent may have as well, but it also frees up their circles so they at least have a zone to play with and not being able to be limited to what they can attack with having a locked circle on the field. Now moving on to the ride deck. For our starter, it is Neon Messiah, the standard when rode upon. If you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Asleep Messiah. When placed by riding from Neon Messiah, draw a card, and you get an Alter Ego Messiah crest. And our grade 2 is Awaking Messiah. From the soul, when a grade 4 with Messiah and its card name is placed on your Vanguard, you may call this card to rear. If you called a card, soul charge 1. And when this unit is unlocked during your turn, choose 1 of your units in the same column as this unit, and it gets plus 10,000 to end of turn. So with this card, you do have the option for the unlock, because you will call it to rear guard when you place your grade 4 Messiah on your Vanguard circle, with our grade 3 being Alter Ego Messiah, along with the copy we are running in the ride deck. We're also running 3 additional copies in the main deck. Now, you can't Persona ride with this deck, but you need these copies of Alter Ego Messiah because you have to discard them to be able to go into your main go-to stride, which is your Exilix Messiah, having to discard a card with Messiah and its card name for the grade 3 stride into this unit. And then having the additional Soul Blast power when a card is unlocked with Generation Break 2 to draw a card. This is on your Vanguard circle, so you have this play at the end of the turn. And when your G unit strides on top of this card, you can counterblast 1, lock a rear guard, choose 1 of your opponent's rear guards and lock it, and choose 1 of your Vanguards and it gets plus 5 until end of turn. So with this, you can just lock 2 cards to begin with, setting up all the other plays you may need for your go-to setup with your strides also. For the other grade 3s, I am running 4 copies of Astrolabe Dragon. Being the discard cost for when it's discarded, you can draw a card. And also on your rear guard during your turn, if any player has a locked card, it gets plus 10,000 power. So it could be a pretty strong attacker on the rear guard, but the main play is just to be able to make up for the discard costs you may have for your stride with this unit as well. Moving on now to the grade 2s, we're also running 4 copies of Arrestor Messiah. When this unit attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Messiah and its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 till end of that battle, and then lock this unit. Setting up with the locked unit to be able to then just be unlocked again, thanks to your Messiah Vanguard, and then being able to attack again, because after you attack and you lock this unit, when it unlocks, it will be restood again. And we're also running 4 copies of the new Kaluzer Klein. During your turn, if any player has a locked card, it gets plus 5,000, so a boost on the rear guard. And at the end of the battle, this unit attacked. If you have an Alter Ego Messiah crest, retire this unit, look at the top 3 cards from your deck, choose up to 1 unit with a grade equal to or less than your Vanguard from among them, put it on an open circle as a locked card, and put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. Setting up some other rear guard potential attacks thanks to this card when it battles and when this unit attacked, being able to then just set up another card to potentially attack again after this unit by retiring it. It doesn't place into the soul, but we do have some other cards that can at least set up the soul blast power that you'll need for drawing, because with your Alter Ego Messiah Vanguard, you will be soul blasting a lot of cards for the draw power each time something unlocks at the end of the turn. Moving on to the grade 1s, we're running 4 copies of Destiny Dealer. It's a searcher for your Messiah, being able to grab a grade 3 Messiah and its card name and put it into your hand, searching your deck or drop zone. So this gives you access to being able to go into your stride for your Exelix Messiah multiple times if need be. And with that, also being able to discard it as a grade 3 if you just need an additional cost without having to use up multiple cards in your hand for your stride discard. I also run the 4 copies of Sacrifice Messiah. With this card at the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a Vanguard with Messiah and its card name, lock this unit, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets plus 5,000 until end of turn. Then if you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, countercharge 1. Now, we can't run Bauble Mine in this deck because we don't run any set orders, which is the main focused way to countercharge and build up your soul with Bauble Mine. So Sacrifice Messiah does help with the countercharge power that it can provide, having no face-up cards in your damage zone, so you have to invest in your counterblast first and then have nothing to then be able to unlock your Sacrifice Messiah with this card, locking and then choosing one of your Vanguards and then just adding on its power. Now, for some soul buildup, because like I said, we will be soul blasting a lot with our Alter Ego Messiah, I am running 3 copies of Go Ahead Makani. It is a Brantgate and a Dark States card, that's what you have to remember, so you can use it in a Brantgate related deck as well. And it's just in the deck for the simple ability of when it's placed on rearguard, you may soul charge 1, building up your soul more and more, and then also being able to provide as another card to lock on your rearguard circle. With the last of the grade 1s being 4 copies of Flowers and Vacuum Cosmo Wreath. If you wanted to run Elementaria Sanctitude, you can always replace 1 copy of this card for a copy of the Blitz Order, but still just being another Link Joker card, but still being able to have the ability of when it's placed on the guard circle, if you have the 1 card in hand, not having to discard an additional copy, giving you 2 full power Sentinels in your hand to use against your opponent. For the actual trigger lineup, we are running the 8 critical for more pressure with the Vanguard, so 4 copies of Patrol Robo Decker Cop and 4 copies of Star Aggression Dragon. The Decker Cop can just help with more soul building power. It gives a unit +2, but the big play will just being able to go through the deck that much more quickly with the cards needed to soul blast for your Alter Ego Messiah. And also the 3 copies of the front trigger just adds more pressure along with the crest for us. If you want to run a 4th copy of the front trigger instead of the criticals, you can always take out 1 copy of Star Aggression Dragon for a 4th copy. And it also has the +5 shield when guarding an attack of your opponents, with our heal triggers being 2 copies of Nabelim and also the 1 copy of Transient Causality and the 1 Creaking World. If you want to go for the full, vanilla heals, just for the added shield without having to use one of the abilities, you can always swap out these 2 just for 2 more copies of Nabelim, with our over trigger being the Eldo Breath over trigger for the additional double power and critical for all our front row units, which can be extremely scary with the extra critical that we can provide with our Exelix Messiah, being able to hit for even bigger numbers when you have this over trigger. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Just a quick little look at what you can run for the added changes to the Messiah deck for Overdress or D format. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.